Something strange happened during the Minecraft Live pre-show. An otherwise ordinary segment created by internet mystery YouTuber Weefies was interrupted.
A house doesn't just appear out of nowhere.
But we wouldn't build a house for no one to live in.
So you're saying it just popped into existence?
And at the end, a link to a website. Clicking on it reveals a text box asking for a password, and the simple words, "Good luck." This got the community really excited. In case you're unaware, searching for a world that doesn't exist is one of those beloved Minecraft videos of 2025.
Chad, that video is crazy!
As it ended on a cliffhanger, we'd been waiting months for any update on a part 2. So when we recognized the village in the live as the same one from the video, we knew that this mystery led to something. We just didn't know what. But what we didn't realize at the time was that this was also the start of one of the most encapsulating mysteries the Minecraft community had ever seen. This hunt took us to places we didn't even know existed, concealed codes deep within obscure Minecraft features, and hid ciphers that required hundreds of code breakers to crack. All to reveal the truth about the world that doesn't exist. Let's take a closer look at the webpage. It's relatively empty, but keen eyes might spot this text at the bottom in enchanting table language. If you translate the text into regular letters and capitalize those which are underlined, you get a string that looks random. A good rule of thumb with internet hunts, and a pattern that will also emerge throughout this one, is that short strings like this are often the ends of URLs. This one, for example, is the end of a YouTube URL, bringing us to a video titled Rules. The video that officially starts the hunt.
If you're seeing this, then good job. You've successfully managed to decipher the enchanting table language. But I promise the rest of the puzzles won't be as straightforward or easy.
We learned that the hunt is made of 5 stages, which each reveal the story of a mysterious house teased in Minecraft Live. To reach the next stage, you need to find the unique password. The only clue you get to figure it out is the title, save for a few exceptions we'll get to later. But more importantly, the video also contains the first clue we need to solve the first stage.
And yeah, this is the only time that the clue for the puzzle will be in, an unlisted YouTube video. But okay, here's puzzle 1.
We're presented with 3 riddles, whose solutions combine to form the code. The 3 riddles are as follows. Which mob turns red sheep blue? What block can only be generated by wearing a specific armor or enchantment? And I break with the particles of never souls and reduce the sight of bony archer foes. What block am I? The first one's pretty easy. An evoker has the ability to turn red sheep blue as an Easter egg to the priest troop from Age of Empires. The second is a little trickier, but the Frostwalker enchantment generates a special type of ice called Frosted Ice. Frosted Ice is unique to Frostwalker, as it's uncraftable and doesn't naturally generate, having the special property of melting almost immediately when exposed to sunlight. Lastly, we need a block that when broken releases soul sand particles, and reduces the range from which archers can see you. These hints describe the skeleton skull block, which when worn makes you blend in with skeletons. So there we go. The code is Evoker, Frosted Ice, Skeleton Skull. Using the code, we move on to stage 2. Now, if you're thinking that this step was relatively easy, you're right, yeah, the community found this code in about 3 minutes. Now imagine the same team spending 4 days trying to solve the final code. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Solving stage 1 gives us a much needed context on the mystery of the house that appeared. We get access to a video titled Audio Log 1. Hopefully this will explain what's going on.
This is Epsilon, Audio Log 1. It is 4 weeks BK. I've officially decided to take on the case of House 31. It just hasn't been sitting right with me.
The interruption during Minecraft Live introduced the house that we now know as House 31. It looks like our protagonist Epsilon will be investigating how it got there.
Something deep inside my mind is screaming that there is something important about this house. I plan to figure out what that is.
From this audio log, we don't learn much. We know this house appeared out of nowhere, but for some reason everyone seems to somewhat recognize it. But who actually is this Epsilon guy? And what does this have to do with Durlord, Avery, and the world that doesn't exist? The only way to answer that is to solve the next clue. The second clue we get is a 1-second audio file that sounds like... yeah, not much. Since we can't hear anything meaningful, everyone's first instinct was to look for hidden messages in audio visualizers. Internet hunts often hide text or pictures in audios such as this one that can only be revealed by using visualizer tools, like for example a spectrogram. This time we had to use a vector scope, a tool that creates shapes from audio frequencies. Using the audio clip, it reveals this string. But unfortunately, this isn't the final code. Going forward, it's not going to be that simple. If we want to find out the truth about House 31, we're going to have to work a lot harder for it. So what do we do with the code? Well, we have to once again use this code in a URL, but not a YouTube one since it doesn't match. So what other websites should we try? Well, there is a shortcut we can use to narrow down our options. In the rules video, Weefies lists out a few websites that he used to create the hunts. While this was intended to make sure nobody got a virus, he also, knowingly or not, gives us a short list of every website we need to try to get to the next step, including
YouTube, Pastebin.
Gotcha. Using this code in a Pastebin URL takes us to this document. Whoa. This document has a lot going on and is quite overwhelming, so let's break it down. First, this text at the bottom. The password to this clue is a single word. When you obtain it, perform a Caesar shift by 24 to obtain the correct password. This is good to know, but not very helpful to us now. So let's look at the rest of the document, which is filled with one continuous text of gibberish. Not much to interpret, but do notice that this text is written in base 36. Remember that for later. Lastly, the title. Wall 2, Shelf 1, Volume 10, page 268. This might ring a bell for some of you, but if not, let me explain. The Library of Babel is a thought experiment and short story written almost a century ago. The story describes a library made of infinitely connecting hexagonal rooms, filled with walls, shelves, volumes, and pages full of randomly sequenced characters. The idea is that theoretically, everything that can ever be known, every story that will ever be written, and every combination of words exists somewhere within the random chaos of the infinite library. All you have to do is know where to find it. This idea isn't just an idea anymore though. There exists a website where anyone can explore a digital version of the Library of Babel. The title of the document are thus coordinates, listing out the exact wall, shelf, volume, and page where we need to go to find the next clue. All we still need is a hex code to guide us to the correct room. This hex, coincidentally, is expressed in long, uninterrupted texts of base 36. So taking the passage from the document and following the directions in the title, we find this page. These are obviously Roman numerals, but turning them into regular numbers didn't make it immediately obvious what we had to do. Remember, the previous clue explicitly said that we were looking for a word, so we have to do something to these numbers to extract a word. The problem is, there are hundreds of things you can do to numbers to potentially get a word. You can map the numbers to their alphabetical counterpart, string numbers together to get a world seed, or even link to another Library of Babel page. So we weren't really sure where to start, until something was discovered in the previous document. Hidden in invisible text at the very bottom, it said, "Construct the coordinates." While admittedly cryptic, this hint was all that we needed. We realized that the numbers were coordinates that we had to construct in some way. After importing the coordinates into a graphing calculator, therefore constructing them by plotting them on a plane, this emerges. From here, the process was pretty easy. This message is encoded using a standard Pigpen cipher, which translates to this code. Remembering the document step from earlier and shifting 24 letters to the right, we end with this code, which when submitted into the website, brings us to stage 3, with a new clue and a new audio log. By the way, if you're genuinely enjoying this video, do consider subscribing. I hate asking, but unless I do, nobody will do it. This channel isn't even monetized yet, so subscribing or even just watching the video all the way through would make a huge difference.
This is audio log 2. It is 26 days, BK. Please state your name for the log.
Abraham.
The second audio log follows Epsilon talking to Abraham, the priest of the village.
Abraham, tell me everything you know about House 31, even if it seems irrelevant. What do you remember from the night it appeared?
I had just finished talking to Tareem in the library and was heading home.
We find out that Abraham works at the library with a person named Tareem.
As I was walking home, I suddenly heard a noise. I walked outside and saw, well, the house.
Abraham was the first person to notice House 31, late in the evening, meaning that if someone had physically built it,
Someone would have to construct it in a day without being noticed, which I doubt.
that's when Epsilon offers an interesting alternative.
Is there any chance it was a spell?
Apparently, those with access to the library could have casted a spell to summon the house, but then logically, the only two people who could have casted it are Abraham himself and Tareem, who he assures Epsilon's innocence.
You're sure Tareem wouldn't do that?
Yes, he's far too busy with Abel.
So if neither Abraham nor Tareem cast the spell, who did? We have to keep looking further for the next log. Okay, this is the third clue. Based on the presence and distance between the hyphens, it wasn't long before we realized that this code was a UUID, a unique code that links directly to a specific Minecraft account. However, there's one problem. The UUID was incomplete. We were missing around the first third of the code, and since this is the only clue we get for this specific stage, we would have been stuck. Unless... This is where we do have to introduce a little bit of a wild card. Remember in the beginning of the video where I mentioned that, save for a few exceptions, you only get one clue per stage? This is one of those exceptions. To find the rest of the UUID, we have to go back to Weefy's Minecraft Live segment. Specifically this moment where he picks out a book. And if you pause at the exact right moment, you can see the missing segment. The now complete UUID brings us to this account, XX_51 whatever. This player has a long skin history and an even longer name history, so there could be a clue hidden literally anywhere. But somewhere where you might have not thought to look is right up here, where we can see the player has exactly one connected social media account, a SoundCloud. Clicking on it, we get two audio files created by someone named Gerard, the placeholder name that Weefy's is known to use in his escape rooms. This was all the confirmation we needed to know that we were on the right track. So let's look into these two audio files.
Hello. If you're listening to this, then good job. You've successfully deciphered the clue. Hidden in the other audio on this SoundCloud is a part of a URL to 4 images.
Okay, so before we continue, we need to extract an image from the second audio file. This time we have to use a spectrogram, and since Weefy's had mentioned Imgur as a website involved in the hunt before, we figured that that's what the URL led to. Easy. Now that we have the images, we have to carefully follow the instructions in the audio. Following these directions has us paste a specific section of an ancient city and building some redstone wiring around it to eventually create this redstone contraption. When activated, some of these copper bulbs will turn on and some will stay off. To get the code, we have to equate lit copper bulbs as 1 and unlit ones at 0. If we then count every bulb in ascending z-axis order using those instructions, we eventually get this, the code to stage 3. Giving us a new audio log that brings us closer to solving the mystery.
This is Epsilon, audio log 3. It is 20 days, BK. Please state your names for the audio log.
I am Tareem. This is Abel.
Here, Epsilon interviews both Abel and Tareem. Tareem explains,
Well, we wouldn't build a house for no one to live in, though I will say it does feel strangely familiar. But it does look like all of our other houses, so maybe I'm just confounding them. I really think there's nothing to it. You ask me, it's just a practical joke someone played.
Tareem seems awfully talkative and quick to downplay the significance of the house. Abel, however, is almost completely silent.
Abel?
Yes?
He doesn't know anything.
Where were you then, Tareem, on the night of the appearance?
I had just finished speaking to Abraham in the library. I was locking it for the night and was going to meet with Lang before returning to Abel. I don't remember seeing anything unusual. I met with Lang, and then I returned.
Well, Tareem's alibi does check out. He locked up the library, met with Lang, and then went straight to Abel, which is the same as what Abraham said he did. As for Abel, he hadn't left his house at all, so these two seem innocent. Until...
If you can, Tareem, you mentioned that House 31 feels familiar. What makes you say that?
I'm not sure, honestly. I can't place it. It looks lived in. A pretty elaborate setup if you ask me, but there's no member of the village who claims they've seen it before.
Ianius.
What?
What?
It's Ianius' home.
Who's Ianius?
My brother. He's gone.
You're...
Ridiculous. Abel, you're an only child. What are you saying?
It's all my fault. He told me
I'm sorry, but we have to leave. I don't know what's gotten into him.
Abel, wait.
My apologies, Epsilon, but there's nothing else we can tell you. Do you know any Ennius?
No, but...
Neither do I, nor does Abel. If the vessel had a brother, you'd think the chief or I would know about it. We'll be going now.
Ianius? That's the first time hearing that name. Abel seems to suddenly remember or invent a brother, but no one else around him has heard of him. Tareem also called Abel the Vessel. So is Abel meant to be a human vessel for some parasite? Tareem definitely seems to be hiding something, so how is he involved? We need answers, but the only way to get them is to solve the next clue. This is the clue we get. An image where we see Weefies in the water looking at a quartz and snow house built on an island with red stained windows. Interesting. Furthermore, if you look closely at the bottom right of the image, you can faintly make out the words, "look inside." Our first thought, of course, was to look inside the house, where we thought we could make out a pumpkin, or an oak log, or a crafting table. Why don't we try a little more of an unorthodox approach? What if we didn't look inside the house, but inside the image? Let me explain. Steganography is a way of using micro adjustments in the color of pixels in an image to hide a secret message. A message that a program called zsteg can decode. When trying this image, sure enough, this message is revealed. Associated with this image are two primes. Multiply them by the prime in Minecraft Live to obtain a world seed. In a 1000 block radius around 00, there are 6 different blocks that only generate once. Find the unique blocks and multiply the coordinates of their Y value to get the next password. Let's break this down. First, we need 2 prime numbers that are directly associated with this image, and a prime number directly associated with Minecraft Live. The 2 primes in the image, it turns out, have absolutely nothing to do with the actual content of the image. The code is hidden in the size of the image. Notice how Weefies' hotbar is cut out a little here, and this image's aspect ratio is just a little off in general. These are both indications that this image has been cropped. If you pull the exact dimensions of this image, we can see that the image measures 967 by 521 pixels. 2 numbers that just so happen to be prime. Next, we need the prime number associated with Minecraft Live, and to find this, we have to of course go back to Weefies' segment. Specifically, right after he opens this chest. In Minecraft, if you rename a chest in an anvil, that name shows up instead of a chest title at the top. This chest has been renamed to 563. Yet another prime number. Now that we've found all 3 primes, we can get the world seed and load it up. The clue states we're looking for 6 distinct blocks that only generate once in a 1000 block radius around 00. Every previous step in the hunt up until now had taken the community around 5 hours. Just this one step alone took another 5 hours. After some smart people coded a tool to automatically scan the world, over 10 hours after a hunt had started, the 4th stage was solved. Here are all 6 blocks and where they generate. Multiplying their Y coordinates gives us this number, the solution to stage 4, giving us another audio log, but also taking us to the final and by far the hardest stage until now.
This is Epsilon, audio log 4. It is 10 days BK. Please state your name for the audio log.
Lang. My name is Lang.
The next audio log features Epsilon interviewing Lang, who doesn't seem to know all too much.
Did you see anything, hear anything?
No.
Well, why do you think it exists?
I know just as much as you do.
Lang also seems to think magic was involved.
No one has any reason to build up a house like that, nor the time to make it look so lived in. It's likely a spell at work.
A spell?
There are spells that can create, and there's spells that can cause people to forget. Someone would have been caught if this was simply made by hand. It's almost surely a spell.
Are you saying Father did this himself?
I don't know what he gets up to now. If he felt it appropriate to erect a house out of nowhere, I have no doubt he could do it. The spells in the library are more than sufficient.
You've seen inside the library?
Wait, up until now we assumed that since only Tareem and Abraham had access to the library, they're the only ones who could have casted the spell. However, now it's revealed that Lang at least had access before.
So it's plausible that you could use them yourself.
I mean, yes, but...
So you could have also caused a house to appear.
Wait, what? No. I mean, sure, in the theory, but why would I do such a thing?
To get back at Father? Maybe you're still smarting about how he removed access to the library and you...
No, I'm not. I did not. I have no reason to do such a thing. What would that even accomplish?
I'm not sure.
Are we finished?
I suppose so. Actually, one thing. Did you know a Ianius?
This is still the main unanswered question. Abel, who is also apparently the vessel, claims to have a missing brother, but nobody seems to know him.
Just over a month ago in my journal, I have a record of a conversation I had with one of our brothers. His name isn't mentioned, and it could be unrelated, but he told me he has something important to tell me and he needs help.
Who is he?
I have no idea. I have no memory of such a conversation. It only exists in writing.
So,
A spell. It could be that my memory was wiped. All our memories were. A brother was swallowed by the void.
Ianius?
Could be.
But how does Abel remember that?
It turns out that Yannius did exist. House 31 belonged to him, except someone used a memory wiping spell to erase them from everyone's mind. Either Tareem, Abraham, Lang, or another magic user wants the world to forget that Yannius ever existed. But this log poses so many more unanswered questions. Yannius clearly needed something from Lang, that's why he's in his journal, but what did he need? And how was Abel the only one able to remember him? That's when suddenly we get interrupted.
But
Epsilon!
What are you doing here?
Epsilon, I found a video. You should see it. About the house.
Show it to me.
And that's where this log ends. But hold on, Abraham had a video? You're telling me that in this village with no other digital technology, Abraham has a video. And you might have noticed, every single audio log starts with days BK. They're counting down to something, but to what? There's so much mystery here, but there's still one audio log to find. All we have to do is solve stage 5. All previous clues had given generous directions and had logical, albeit difficult solutions. Stage 5, however, by Weefy's own admission, was just created to buy time. To demonstrate, here's the clue that we got. There's no hidden clue in the static, we checked. To even get the clue for stage 5, we had to dig into the page's source code, where we found 2 clues. One listed as the author, a code written in base 64, and another labeled under X secret. But after we found this, nobody else made progress for 4 days. We had both of the puzzle pieces we needed, that was confirmed. We just needed to use them in the right way. Before I tell you how we eventually solved this stage, I want to show you a few of the insane things we tried on our journey. For example, we tried using the X secret key as a Minecraft seed, and noticed that there were an abnormal amount of shipwrecks around world spawn. There are also multiple buried treasure maps that pointed to the same exact treasure. The idea was that this buried treasure loot was somehow significant, and that there was a code hidden somewhere in it. But if you've played a lot of survival, you'll know this isn't all too uncommon, so it's probably not too surprising that this led absolutely nowhere. Another interesting theory came when someone decoded the X secret using base 64. Then, applying a bunch of modifications, skipping a few characters and adding a few more, we thought we could make out this poem. In the English room, under the glass, near the hidden hand, look for the word. To match this, we found a tower in London, which, as an art piece, had one brick replaced with a transparent glass-like resin, with a floating hand in it. All we had to do was look for the word, but, of course, to no success. Another lead we looked into was that 2 Caesar rotations, just like the one we did earlier, of the X secret led to a few very interesting phrases when translated into traditional Mandarin. One reads the towering peaks and lush valleys, and the other reads burning the flames. Now this sounds promising, we would have pursued it further if Weefy's hadn't outright shut it down, saying the code does not use other languages. That's when, 5 days after the hunt had started, it was solved. And I'll let you decide if the solution was satisfying. The first step was to take the X secret code and run it through a Visionaire cipher. This wasn't a new idea, in fact this was one of the first things that we tested. The thing about Visionaire cipher though, is that it needs a key. This key can be any word, that's any length with any combination of characters. We had tried countless keys already, ranging from under pursuit hints from the previous clues, to direct quotes from the King in Yellow. But it turns out, the key was right in front of our noses the whole time. It was the URL of the Stage 5 webpage. Now using the text we just got and reusing it into another arbitrary cipher, while using the author clue we found as the decryption key, it finally spits out Blinkler. After searching everywhere across the internet, in Minecraft, and in real life, we finally reached the final audio log, Erasure, which reveals everything.
Okay, sorry. Say that again?
I said something isn't right about this summoning. Everyone insists that this is what we have to do, and that the king will help all of us, but we don't know that. I know my brother. I knew my brother, and he would never have wanted this. And look what they've done to him.
Epsilon is talking to an unfamiliar voice. This character has a brother, but it isn't Abel. I believe we're listening to Yannius, and it seems like he isn't happy with Abel being used as a vessel.
What is your fear here?
I just fear that the king is not what everyone is hoping for. I fear that the king doesn't have any desire to help any of us. And I fear that I'm losing my brother.
Being the vessel is clearly taking a mental and physical toll on Abel, so much that Yannius feels like he's losing him.
Look, I don't have any proof, okay? But you have to believe me when I say this. I know my brother. Abel may seem like he's fine, that he's just focusing on the preparations, but deep down he's scared. Deep down he knows something is wrong. He's just too scared to say anything about it. He can't tell us. He definitely can't tell Father. There's
I have no
nothing he
doubt
can do.
that you love and know your brother. I just worry that your feelings are
Look,
just...
you know what? You're right. It's all right. I just had an idea. I've thought of something. Thank you for your time, Epsilon. I really should go, but thank you.
Okay, see you.
Bye.
And then the audio log just cuts off. But it all makes sense. Abel was the vessel for the king that Durlord was warned about when he came to the destroyed village. Yannius saw the destruction coming, that's why he pleaded with Epsilon to let Abel go. What Epsilon was counting down to in all of his audio logs was the summoning of the king. Over time, the plan was for Abel to lose all of himself, becoming nothing but a perfect vessel for the king to take over. But what happened to Yannius? Why was he forgotten, and what did he suddenly realize that made him want to leave so quickly? Well, there's still time left in the video.
Thank you for your time, Epsilon. I really should go, but thank you.
Okay, see you.
Bye.
And that's it. Yannius wanted to burn his own house down, but before he could do it, he was taken by the king and swallowed by the void. Yannius' disappearance could have scared Tareem into casting the spell to make everyone forget him, in order to not compromise Abel's ability to be a vessel. But this explanation doesn't answer the biggest question I have. Are these people even human? We know from Durlord and Avery's perspective that this world is nothing more than a Minecraft world on a computer. Yet we see Epsilon, Abraham, and the rest live in it, build relationships in it, and more, all before Durlord ever logs on. Furthermore, in some of the audio logs, we hear sound effects that aren't native to Minecraft, like the rustling of papers or playing a cassette. Could these be real consciousnesses unknowingly stuck in a Minecraft world with the sole purpose of summoning the king? Or is this a cult of people who only connect via Minecraft to specifically worship the king? The mystery of a world that doesn't exist can go so much deeper, and there are so many questions yet to answer, but until we see more, the mystery remains unsolved.